It was good, y'all. It's your boy JD6 here. I'm with my man. Shout out to KC Sports Authority. Make sure y'all go check that podcast out, man.
You heard the man. Welcome into another edition, the second edition of Gameday Gambles right here on the KC Sports Authority podcast. He's Greg Jackson. I'm Keegan Russell, and this is the KC Sports Authority podcast. If you're checking us out over here on YouTube, welcome to the show. Hit that like and subscribe button below. We are very close to 1,000 subscribers and would love to get to 1,000 here quickly with the NFL season coming up. Weekly episodes from all KC sports specific topics, but we're also going to be touching on NFL betting, fantasy football, college football betting, weekly shows for KCSA Gameday Gambles. So you'll see that over here on YouTube as well as on all of our social media channels at KCSA Pod. So let's get into it, Greg. NFL is back with the kickoff Thursday night. The Baltimore Ravens are coming to Kansas City to the back-to-back defending Super Bowl champs. Kansas City Chiefs looking to three-peat. We've got a monster game to kick off the year. It's from not just from a betting perspective, but just the fact that football is back in the air. There is no greater time in sports, I think, than the fall kickoff of football season, tail end of baseball season, and just the early look towards basketball season. But how are you feeling with the NFL ready to kick off?
Favorite time of the year by far is as we come into the fall here for all the stuff you just said. And I'll be honest, you look at these lines for week one, I think my theme this year is I think parity is probably more than ever right now in the NFL. There's a lot of wide open conferences, wide open divisions, in my opinion, and wide open shots at making the playoffs. We're going to see teams that we never thought were going to make the playoffs. And
not that this is that episode, but you've got the Chiefs and then you got everybody else. So, yes, just as wide open as you're talking about. We know the Chiefs are sitting up here, and I know Greg's not the Chiefs guy himself, but we'll get into that. But, yes, this first episode of the NFL season for us, we want to get into some NFL futures. Look at some of the different awards, go through some of those with you guys to find some value to make some money, because that is the whole purpose of this episode and all of our Game Day Gambles episodes, is to find ways to make you guys money as well as make ourselves some money. So we're going to get into that. And then, of course, we'll look at the week one lines. And then weekly, like I said, weekly, we will have episodes for you guys, both college football sports betting as well as NFL betting. And then we'll have plays throughout the week on our social media channels. So if you haven't given us a follow on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at KCSA Pod. And again, smash that subscribe button right here on YouTube so you are never missing out on any of our future betting content. Well, let's just jump straight into it. NFL futures. We're going to look at some player awards, playoffs, Super Bowl, all that. Let's dive in first with probably the most viewed award, I guess, the MVP odds, the one that is the most valuable quarterback award, as we should probably call it, as we know it's almost impossible for a non-quarterback to win it, although we will talk about some of those plays. Mahomes is the betting favorite, as he probably should be every year. Who's he your pick, though, for MVP if you want to make money?
He is not. I will absolutely concede that, yes, without Patrick Mahomes, I don't know how many games Kansas City wins. Don't love his odds. What do you have his current odds sitting at out there in Kansas?
Right now, and I should probably flip over to, let me see if I can pull it up for you guys real quickly here. He is plus 450 on FanDuel currently. I don't know if you guys can see that there. Yeah, plus 450 on FanDuel. Honestly, the MVP awards, there's a lot of good money odds there. Like you could sprinkle around. But, yeah, he is the betting favorite at plus 450 to start the season.
Yeah, not enough for me. I'll be honest that I don't agree with the take on Kansas City, being Kansas City and everybody else. So I said to Keegan, I'm going to try to get myself on some of these other episodes so I can level set a little bit here from a national perspective. Look, he's unbelievable. He's the best player in the NFL. He is. But to me, a close second is Josh Allen. And the odds are just so much better. Expectations will be down. Allen's problem is simple, the turnover, right? And the problem is he was getting so far behind in some of these games last year, he had to be Superman to come back. And he was turning the ball over. He also made some very silly decisions. this is a take that I don't know if everyone will agree with, but I think I'm right. I think Stephon Diggs leaving is going to be the best thing that ever happened to Josh Allen.
Hot take?
He is no longer going to be trying to force the ball to one receiver. He can now spread it around without someone demanding the ball. He's Josh Allen, so he's not going to listen to his coaches, and he's going to run. And he's going to take people on and dive head first and try not to get injured. But if you take Josh Allen off the Bills, what happens? So if he has a good season with lower expectations, because I got the Bills 16-1 to win it all, right? Where the Chiefs are 5-1. If Josh Allen puts up Josh Allen numbers, takes down the turnovers a little bit, I got 8.5-1 out here in New York. I don't know if I can pass that up, even if I go down the board. I don't see better value for what I think is going to happen.
Sure. Josh Allen's bound to be a guy. I mean, he finishes top 5 MVP voting almost every season. He's a guy you feel like's got to be the next man up for this award. You know, Lamar's had his, Patrick Mahomes has had his. If you look further down that line, he's much older now, but Aaron Rodgers has been an MVP before. You look at this list and you go, all right, Josh Allen's got to be that next man up who hasn't cracked the MVP win yet. But he's also a guy that tends to fall apart under pressure, in my opinion. So I think he's got a little bit of an uphill battle. But there's a lot of, I think, great opportunities here. You could really talk me into any of the top 5 or 6. Joe Burrow, again, one of the top 5 best quarterbacks in the league, in my opinion. So if the Bengals have a solid season, he puts up big numbers, plus 1,000. That's a fantastic line there. I think CJ Stroud is everyone's favorite to win the award this year based on his rookie season being one of the more impressive rookie seasons for a quarterback, probably since Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts is an interesting one to me. Big down year last year. So you'd kind of expect them to bounce back, and I think they definitely will. Kellen Moore's a fantastic offensive coordinator, and I think he's really going to come in and better utilize Jalen Hurts' skill set with the guys around him to maximize that offense. So I think Jalen Hurts is a great one. I don't think Lamar's going back-to-back. I just the Bengals, the Ravens to me just don't have enough. And with the addition of Derrick Henry, I think that's going to take a lot of the running off of Lamar's plate. Not that he's not going to run; he's still going to run. But if you need 2 or 3 yards, hand it off to one of the best in the game, albeit he's getting older. Brock Purdy, don't like that one whatsoever. I think he is overinflated by the guys around him. I think he's an average quarterback in a fantastic system. So don't love that one. Tua, another decent one. He was one of the MVP favorites for the first half of the season until the Dolphins just fell off the face of the earth. He's got 2 of the best offensive weapons at wide receiver, a very dynamic run game. So he could definitely put up numbers. And then another one that I think has gotten a lot of talk lately is Dak Prescott. I would never bet on him because I don't know how you could trust anything with the Cowboys, but you do know he's going to have a big statistical season. I think CeeDee Lamb is in a position to be one of the best statistical seasons as a wide receiver, so Dak's going to put up big numbers. But for me, if you want value, I think the guy that is not getting enough love and enough talk is Jordan Love, the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Another full year under his belt in that system. All it took was getting rid of Aaron Rodgers for them to start investing in offensive weapons at receiver. I think he's got a slew of receivers that could put up big numbers. So Jordan Love is my sleeper pick, I guess, at plus 1,400. I love those odds there. I think they're in a position to win their division, finish as a top 3 seed in the NFC, and he might not have to have that impressive of a year to win the award if they just win a bunch of games.
Look, it's a great call. The way he finished last season was unbelievable. I don't think anyone saw it coming. How did you Cowboys fans like that? It was something. And he had the Niners on the ropes. Now, unfortunately for him, he's not going to win the division. He's not going to win the division because he plays with the Detroit Lions. So he's not going to win that division. But I think he's going to make the playoffs. I think it's a great value play. The other one on that board that, hey, it's only third down that I look at is Burrow. I look at that Bengals team. When he was hurt, he's hobbling around. They are not the same without him. He's going to come back. And with Jamar Chase, he's going to put up numbers. He's going to put up some video game numbers. That's just what he does. So Burrow's another one. I'm going Allen. I still can't believe the word came out of your mouth that he's not under pressure. You watched the game in Kansas City, right? I mean, what did he do wrong besides leaving the Chiefs 14 seconds or whatever?
It's the turnover prone that he is when he's prone to make a big turnover at the worst time, in my opinion. Not saying he's to me he is second to Mahomes, and anytime those two play, NFL fans as a whole and all football fans are in for a treat. But he can't get over the hump. But
I think he gets over it this year for the MVP.
Yeah, I do like the MVP play there. I think it's very interesting. You said losing Stephon Diggs could be addition by subtraction. Their wide receiver core doesn't really excite you, but between Dalton Kincaid, James Cook's going to have a heavy influence on their rushing attack this year and in the passing game. I think they've got more options to spread the ball around where they might not be as one-dimensional. And if he's able to develop some chemistry early with Keon Coleman and continue to develop Shakir, and then see how they mix in Curtis Samuel, he could put up some big numbers. I mean, he's gonna put up big numbers regardless. But yeah, maybe that is the focal point, because we saw them down the stretch. Teams really focused in on Stephon Diggs a lot, and that changed the way they played down the stretch because they couldn't get him the ball. So yeah, he's primed for a big year. I don't buy the CJ Stroud one. I think a year of tape, defenses are going to start to adjust some. Now maybe he just outperforms again, and I think that'd be fantastic. But the fact that he jumped on the scene so quickly last year and teams didn't adjust feels like that's going to start to catch up to him. Kind of like Trevor Lawrence. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was a guy that coming into year two was a favorite to win, to be an outside looking in guy for MVP, a guy that would take that next step. But CJ Stroud, I think, is going to have a lot more attention on him this year. I think he'll still put up big numbers because they do have a dynamic offense.
It's going to be.
I think defenses are going to start trying to figure out how to get to him, which could hurt him there. But yeah,
the fact CJ Stroud's got one great advantage: he plays indoor, and he's going to have a couple indoor road games, so he's going to put up huge numbers with that offense. Will it be enough to win the MVP? I don't know. But hey, I don't fault anyone for taking 12-1 on him. I would lean more down the board to your 14-1 on Love. But again, my top selection is going to be Allen 8.5-1 out here in New York at DraftKings.
Yep. The other one I don't think gets enough talk to, and I don't know if he'll have the statistics to do it, but is Jared Goff at plus 2,500. If they're the number one seed in the NFC, 14 wins, and he's throwing for 4,000 plus yards, close to 40 touchdowns, I mean, he's got to be in the conversation for sure.
I think he'll be in the conversation. You want to take a flyer on Goff, I have no issue with it. I think your problem when you look at Jared Goff is a lot of times when you think of the Kansas Chiefs, you think Patrick Mahomes comes to mind first, and probably Travis Kelce, right? Then you move to the dynamic defensive players, right? Mm-hmm. When you think of the Bills, Josh Allen, right? You think of the Bengals, Burrow. Now, when you think of the Lions, there's about 4 people who jump out.
Dan Campbell.
Right. Dan Campbell could be the first guy you think of, right? But you got Gibbs. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got Laporta now on the scene, who might be the best tight end in the league. So Goff might be the 4th person you think of in the offense. So even if he's putting up these numbers, he's going to be putting it up to those guys, and he just might not get the recognition that those other guys get.
Yeah, he's not the sexy pick for sure, nationally speaking. I mean, how much different is he from what Matthew Stafford was statistically 2 years ago, 3 years ago when they won the Super Bowl? That same kind of definitely in the MVP conversation, but one you don't feel like voters are going to gear towards. One guy that probably doesn't have a good chance of winning an MVP, although if there was a guy that's a non-quarterback to win it, you would think it'd be Christian McCaffrey. But let's move down to offensive player of the year. Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill feels like a 2-man race. You could throw in CeeDee Lamb there. Where did it go? There it is. Wow, Tyreek Hill has now moved into the betting favorite. Christian McCaffrey a couple of days ago was the favorite, but Tyreek Hill is now plus 750. But offensive player of the year, to me, it's a 3-horse race. Those top 3 there, I could see a guy like Bijan Robinson blowing up enough this year to overtake it. I find it interesting that Justin Jefferson's still up there, considering we don't know what Sam Darnold's going to be for him at quarterback. What do you like in this pairing here, or this grouping of offensive players?
So we talked about it a little bit. I'm on Jefferson, 12-1. Tyreek Hill, to me, he's getting up there. Eventually, I don't know. I just got a feeling, and no one wishes for injury, but I think eventually there's going to be a season where he doesn't play 5-6 games. This could be the one. McCaffrey last year was unreal, and he didn't get hurt for the first time in a while. He's already got calf issues. Is he going to go to the hamstring next? I don't trust.
He's
McCaffrey.
approaching 30, getting closer to 30.
I don't trust him at all. CeeDee Lamb, I think, is just him and Jefferson are 1 and 1A, I think, for receivers, followed very closely by Chase and Amaron. I think those are the top of the top of the top, and then it's everybody else. But your point is the reason I like JJ. When he puts up these ridiculous numbers and everyone, he's going to do it. You can tell me about Sam Darnold. I don't care if Keegan's throwing him the ball. He is going to put up those numbers because he is that good at running routes. He's that good. So when he does it, he's going to get extra love because he did it with Sam Darnold or whoever else they put in. Last year, and you can fact check me here, fantasy-wise, he averaged 24 points a game with Nick Mullins. 24 points a game with Nick Mullins throwing him the ball.
That's insane.
It doesn't matter who's back there.
I know I didn't mention it as my pick, but I do love Justin Jefferson there. If you get the ball anywhere close to his vicinity, he's not to compare receivers necessarily, but he's like a more freak level version of what DeAndre Hopkins was for 1 or 2 years, where if the ball is anywhere close to him, he's coming down with it. My only fear with Justin Jefferson there is how much do the Vikings throw the ball or lean into the run game in a let's call it what it's a rebuilding year for them, despite the fact that they have the best 1, 2, 3 wide receiver in the league. So I have a little bit of worry there. That's why I kind of look at a guy like Bijan or Breece Hall. Maybe they get a stronger workload. But if Jefferson's putting up those ridiculous numbers again, and let's say it leads to 3 or 4 extra wins on top of what they were expected to get originally, that's a great value pick there.
Yeah, and I don't hate Amon-Ra St. Brown either. He got snubbed.
He's probably got to get 15, 16 touchdowns to be a finalist, I think.
You could be right. He got snubbed last year for Pro Bowl. So that's out there. People know that he got snubbed. If he puts up huge numbers like he did last year, he might be in this consideration for Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I like it there. Let's see if this will catch up to me here. I might stop screen sharing here in a second if it's too slow. Let's go to Defensive Player of the Year. Again, household favorite name there's Micah Parsons. There's 2 other guys that I like way better than Parsons, but who is your play here at Defensive Rookie of the Year? Not Player of the Year. Yeah, Defensive Player of the Year.
I'm with you. I'm not going on Parsons. The odds have switched quite a bit from when I looked at this in New York the other day, and they've gotten a lot better on who I like. My top selection anytime he's playing is going to be TJ Watt, and it's not that's it. There's nothing more to say. He's the best defensive player in the league when he's out there and he's healthy. And then just personally, because I like the way he plays, Crosby would be my second play.
Yeah, I think Crosby's got the tenacity to go win the award. I don't know if he's going to do enough with a bad Raiders team to make that much of a difference on the field.
Well, he's going to be on the field a lot.
Nationally speaking. That's true. He's going to get a lot of playtime. So he could rack up some big sacks numbers. But the 3, I'm looking at the 3 in that second line there, the TJ Watt, the Nick Bosa, and honestly Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson was a guy I put a little bit on last year as a sleeper for that position.
Yep.
I think he ended up missing a couple games, and the statistics really quite weren't there yet. But Detroit got better defensively this offseason, so I think that takes some of the pressure off him. So he could be a guy that has a big year. And then honestly, he had a really solid rookie season, and now he's got some more help along the defensive line. But maybe a guy like Will Anderson could just go through a monster stretch where he racks up like 8 sacks in 4 games and just jumps way up there. But this to me is kind of a wide open one. There's a lot of guys that could finish top. I mean, obviously as a Chiefs fan, Chris Jones, I would love to see him in that conversation if he's double-digit sacks. I have a feeling though this year, the way the game has changed, I don't know if the sack numbers are going to quite be the same as we've seen in the past, the guys that are getting 18 to 20 plus. I mean, years ago, you'd have 5, 6, 7, 8 guys getting 18 plus, and now it's like 1 or 2. So I'm kind of interested to see how that factors into some of the decisions down the road for those that have a vote in this. But yeah, there's a lot of value there. There's really not, I don't think, a wrong answer. Because all of them are obviously plus money, so you can make money. But yeah, value play. I love TJ Watt. He's been Mr. Reliable, although he's starting to get injury prone. He's had a couple injuries that have slowed him down.
And Hutchinson last year we gave out. We both loved him as a sleeper. He's 25 to 1. Now he's 14 to 1, and this year I'd play him again if I'm making 2 picks here. It's probably TJ or Crosby at 8.5 to 1 each, and then Hutchinson at 14 to 1, and those would be my 2 shots here.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop screen sharing because this is getting too many names to look at. But let's jump into. I haven't even changed MVP odds or player of the year odds. Let's go to offensive rookie of the year. Is this a 2-man race? 3-man race?
Hey, if you listened to last year, right, for the couple episodes we did, we talked about the Heisman. Well, this is the Heisman part 2. We got Williams and Daniels again. And once again, like I said last year, I am not taking those terrible odds. I am taking Daniels at 5 to 1. Give me 5 to 1 over 2 to 1 any day of the week for guys who are 1 and 1A. And I think, look, you got a better situation up in Chicago. You got a lot of pieces around you. Daniels is going to run. He's going to put up rushing yards. He's going to put up passing yards. I see it. Daniels 5 to 1 as the play. How about yourself?
Oh, absolutely. And right now in FanDuel, he's 6 to 1.
Even better.
Even a little bit more juice there. Marvin Harrison's right next to him there at 650. I just don't know. A rookie wide receiver winning rookie of the year is tough in a quarterback heavy league. And with the way Kyler Murray likes to run around and with the run game, I think they're going to lean into more. I don't know if I like that much. But yeah, Jaden Daniels to me is the answer. Him and Caleb Williams, I think, are going to have similar seasons. So if you're going to have a similar season, go with the guy that's going to have the better odds. Now, he may not have the same team success. Maybe Chicago has more team success because they do have a lot of additions on the offense and defense. So they might be in a better position, like you said. But I like Jaden Daniels' playmaking ability. The big question with him is obviously, can he stay healthy? And if he's hurt, he's going to slide down the board. But if you had to go a little bit of sleeper there, I think a lot of people are really high on Malik Neighbors. I don't know if he's going to put up enough numbers with Daniel Jones throwing to him. I think they'll force the ball into his hands for sure. But he's a fun one. And then, heck, why not throw some money on Bo Nix? He looked good in preseason. And he might be I don't remember if he was like 7th quarterback taken or something, but he could finish statistically as one of the top 2.
Good. Yeah, it's not a bad call. Neighbors, if his odds were 100 to 1, I don't know if I'd put $1 on him with Jones right there. I just don't. I don't think the Giants are a good football team at all.
Yeah.
I think when the front office finally realizes they made a huge mistake at quarterback, and they bring someone in who understands the game a little better and can read defenses a little better, then Neighbors is going to be a great receiver. Yeah, I'm with you on Harrison Jr. I don't know, rookie receiver. Kyler Murray, he's still very inconsistent, so I don't know what I'm doing out there. And you still got McBride, who's going to eat up a lot in Arizona. James Conner's going to eat up some touchdowns. So I don't know. I still think it's going to be a QB. If it's a QB, I'm going, again, Daniels. He has some weapons, everyone. He's got McLaurin, who's a fantastic receiver, and now he's got Daniels throwing the ball. And he's got a nice safety blanket for the beginning of the season with Zach Ertz. If Zach Ertz stays healthy, he's old, he's reliable, he's going to know how to get into little windows to make easy throws, to build some confidence. So give me Daniels 5 to 1.
And if you want a deep sleeper, he's going to miss the first couple games of the season, but Carolina's going nowhere fast, so they're going to run the ball a ton. Jonathan Brooks at plus 9,500. I guarantee you by week 8, week 9, week 10, you're going to see his odds crash because he's going to be putting up big numbers in a heavy usage position. So I like him as a very, very long-term play, although, like I said, he's going to miss the first 4 games or so at least. But by the time he gets back in it, there's a good chance that they just force feed him the ball and he puts up some big numbers. Okay, let's go to defensive rookie of the year. I don't have a ton of take on this because I don't know how strong this class is necessarily as a whole. I think defensive guys are hard to predict early on. But who's your go-to pick here?
I'm going to go with Turner from Alabama, 4 to 1. With Vikings, he's an edge rusher. Maybe he puts up some good numbers, some sacks, and gets it that way. That's I'm with you. I don't have much of a take on this one, but if I'm going to throw a flyer out there, it's going to be on Turner, 4 to 1.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot. The Vikings are going to probably be a worse defense this year, so maybe he's got his ears pinned back and it's just taken off for the quarterback, so he could put up the numbers. I don't mind Byron Murphy on Seattle. Seattle's just they always have a strong defense. But yeah, this one's, I think, a harder one to predict because you're kind of trying to guess on stats. So, I mean, I don't know how you decide who's going to do what. But heck, maybe a guy like Kamari last year all the way down at plus 5,000 comes up with, the Trayvon Diggs rookie season and comes up with a bunch of picks.
Yeah.
And could find his way up there. So yeah, I think there's a lot of guys here you could just kind of pick a couple, sprinkle a little bit on there, and see where it goes. One of my favorite ones to predict is comeback player of the year. I think there's a couple obvious ones here, not just at the quarterback position, but who are some of the guys you're looking at here that make the most sense?
So I think it's 2, in my opinion, and I don't usually play chalk. This one I'm playing chalk. If I'm betting this, I'll take 2.5 to 1 on Burrow because I think he's going to obviously, if he stays healthy, put up the numbers that this will be an easy win. The other one is Cousins. I think Cousins is going to be in a good situation in Atlanta. He's got pieces around him. And what are his odds out there right now? You took him down. I think they were 6 to 1.
He is plus 430 right now.
430. Okay, so fell a little bit. But I think he's another good one that's worth taking a shot on. Do you see it going to anyone but those two?
I mean, I see the national narrative being on Aaron Rodgers, of course, but I think they're going to really run the ball a ton. So I don't know if he's going to have I don't think he's going to have a strong enough statistical season. I think the other guy that's going to get some interest is Anthony Richardson. Everyone's curious to see how he bounces back from injury. Does he have a high usage rate running the ball? Can he get a bunch of extra stats there? Honestly, I don't mind Kyler Murray at plus 2,500 either. He's supposedly healthy coming off of the knee injury. He's got a better weapon at receiver. You talked about how Trey McBride can eat through the middle there. I think they've got 2 running backs they really like with James Conner and Trey Benson. And Dortch, I think Dortch is still out there. He's a big, deep threat down the field. So I think Kyler Murray could put up some big numbers at plus 2,500. Again, I don't have a strong feeling either way. But if I had to just go off of value, I'm looking at Richardson, Nick Chubb, or Kyler Murray. Nick Chubb, it's going to be tough. He's going to have to put up a lot of numbers when he gets back.
Yeah, exactly. How much he misses.
All right, let's move on to conference winners. Let me switch over here. AFC side, again, obvious favorite is the Chiefs at plus 350, Ravens plus 550, Bengals 750, Houston 800, Jets 850, Bills 900 are the top ones there. I know what your play is already, but where do you see value in this on this side of the board?
I don't see it on the Chiefs. Sorry, Kansas. I don't see it on the Ravens. I see it on really 3 of the next 4 teams listed: Bengals 7 to 1, Bills 8 to 1, or Jets 10 to 1. I am going with the Bengals at 7 to 1. I think Burrow is back. Jamar Chase is going to do what Jamar Chase does. That's my opinion. I think the defense is pretty solid. I think it's been solid. I think they got in some bad spots last year. Cincinnati, tough place to go in and get a win. They do a good job at home. The fans are good. It's a good place it's a good home field advantage, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I know Buffalo is too. I think Joe Burrow has turned that city around. Last year was a big speed bump. I don't think this year will be. I think he'll be right back to where he was in a conference championship, and I think he'll win it. My only thing, which I've told you off air with that team, is I hope T. Higgins comes to play, because I think T. Higgins is pissed off he was tagged. So I hope Burrow gets him in a good mood, and he's there to put up big numbers like he can do, because that dual threat is scary when they're on.
Yeah, T. Higgins to me, from a fantasy football perspective, I have him finishing as a top 15 receiver because I think he's going to come out with his hair on fire to prove a point, and he's going to figure out how do I get – I know he's not Jamar Chase, but he's going to be going, hey, can I have a season that's worthy of asking for Jamar Chase type money or Justin Jefferson type money? I think he's capable. Big body receiver. I think the question is, who do defenses lock in on? Do they just double up Jamar Chase all day and don't let him beat you over the top? Okay, if that's the case, the 6'4", 6'5" T. Higgins is going to find the ball in the middle of the field, and he's going to get himself 8 to 10 catches a game, again, if his head's on right. So I like that. But yeah, obviously, as the Chiefs fan here, I'm going to pick the Chiefs, of course. But if you had to say, hey, I want to make a little bit more cash, I think the team I trust the most, I don't even want to say it's trust the most. It's like which of these teams I trust the least to still perform better, I guess is how I'll say it, because I like the quarterback head coach duo is where I look at getting to a conference championship. And I still like Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson as the better pairing. But I think, again, Lamar has not proven it whatsoever in the playoffs just yet. Joe Burrow has at least made it to a Super Bowl, albeit I don't think that was as much him getting to the Super Bowl in that stretch as it was the defense and their kicker. But then I also think, the Bills have proven Josh Allen's capable, but I don't trust Sean McDermott from a coaching decision. So I think I'll look at the Ravens. And then again, Houston is going to be a lot of interesting takes there at plus 800. So if you're looking to just make additional money, maybe throwing something there. But let's go to the NFC side. Again, the 49ers, the obvious favorite at plus 260, Lions plus 500, Eagles plus 600, Green Bay plus 900, Cowboys plus 900, and then the Falcons at plus 1,200 to kind of round out the top 6.
So you know where I'm going here. I went here last year. We just missed. We had the Niners on the ropes. Give me the Lions again to try to come and finish the job this year and get to the Super Bowl. I think, again, the defense looks bad at times, and I think half the problem there is because the offense is scoring so many points they don't even get a chance to rest. So, and I think Kansas City, you can relate to that a little bit, right? When Mahomes drives them down in 30 seconds and D's right back out there.
Yep.
That's what goes on in the Lions is they're scoring so quick, they're giving up points. I think the defense matures this year. I think they have a better year. Hutchinson, I think, is going to start being the voice of that defense. I think with an improved defense, I think they can grab the 1 seed, and this year someone's got to go there.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
That's my take, 5.5 to 1. I think it's a great play. I don't trust the Eagles. You'll hear more about that when we get into the games. I don't trust the Cowboys. If you do, good luck.
No way.
Packers are intriguing at 7.5 to 1.
To me, the Packers are the only other play if you're looking for value. Plus, not like I said, I think they have a favorable schedule for the most part. And if they can go in and beat Detroit and come out being the division leader, I think they're in a position to be 1 or 2 seed in the NFC. So they are a team that they have the roster makeup to get there.
Yeah, look, if I'm a Packers fan at this point, I mean, I don't know how to feel. You went from Favre to Rodgers to now looks like another one in love, and that's what we're going to be on 40-something years, and you have 2 Super Bowls. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to feel. Am I happy that I'm always good in the regular season, or am I just mad that I only have 2 Super Bowls? So team knows how to turn out quarterbacks, that's for sure. If you want to go down the board a little bit, I just don't. I know a lot of people are trying to sell me on the Bears. What's your opinion on the Bears? I'm not buying. I just don't see it.
They might be this year's version of the Texans, maybe. But I mean, Keenan Allen is old as dirt and has terrible knees. So how often is he going to play? I like the addition of Rome Odunze next to DJ Moore. I think offensively they'll put up big numbers. They have a lot of additions to the defense, so I don't know how quickly they gel as a unit. So I think they'll be the fun favorite. But honestly, if you had to pick between the two, I think I'd rather go Seattle plus 2,500. Again, new coach, but just the Seattle culture for some reason. To me, they're a lot like what Mike Tomlin is with the Steelers. They just find ways to win football games. And I'm not saying Geno's going to lead them into a playoff run, but if you had to pick one between the two, I'll go with the guy that's the veteran and the that squad there, because again, I think the Seattle, they just always find a way to be in the conversation. Chicago has not been in that conversation for a long time.
Yeah, if we're going way down the board and you want to take just an absolute flyer, I would bet Tampa.
That's what I was going to mention next. I think Baker. I wouldn't say Baker's underrated, but they can put up numbers.
I think he's very underrated, very disrespected. I mean, look where he goes in fantasy drafts. He averaged 18, almost 19 points. He's right up there with the Herberts of the world, and he's not even talked about in Lawrence. He averaged the same amount of points as those guys. They even talked in the. I mean, you get laughed at if you say Baker Mayfield's on the same level as Trevor Lawrence, right? Yep. So, I mean, he did a great job last year. I think, hey, look, he did a good job that one year with Cleveland when he got him in the playoffs, right?
And their offense got better. I think their offense got better this offseason. They also picked up another receiver, and Jalen McMillan, who I think is going to be underrated as a rookie receiver that won't get enough talk. But you got 2 studs on the outside there with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. both getting a little bit older, but talk about Mr. Reliable. Next to Travis Kelce, has there been a guy at wide receiver for 10 years that can do the same thing as what a guy like Travis Kelce does? It's Mike Evans. So yeah, I like that there's as another deep pick.
They got a great tight end. White is a good running back. I mean, they're set up here, and I know the pick of that division now is the Falcons because of Robinson and Cousins is there, and Pitts should be better, and their defense is pretty good. But I don't know. I mean, 35-1. You want to make some money? There you go. There's a flyer.
Yep, I like that. Before we go to Super Bowl, let's actually jump over to playoff appearance. Again, not a lot here, but is there any team that you think has a decent value play here to make the playoffs?
Those odds real quick again, because I went through it real quick, and the answer was no, unless you want to try to parlay a bunch together, which I'm not hot on. I mean, if you said, all right, you got to select one, I think I wrote down the Jags were plus 118.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got off to a real hot start last year and then just fell apart. So, I mean, I guess I'd lean Jags, expecting them to get back to the playoffs like they had been doing for the last few years. And then I guess the other one, it's not great odds. It's why I wasn't really shouting it out, is the Chargers are plus 110. Now, look, all Jim Harbaugh does is win. It's not going to shock me if he comes in this league, says, look, Herbert, you played for a moron for the first part of your career. Let me teach you how to play quarterback because I know how to play it very well. Here's how you manage an offense. Here's how you manage a game. And they all of a sudden win 10, 11 games. I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Yep. They just have the unfortunate side of they are never healthy. Someone's always injured at a premium position. But yeah, I don't see a lot on here. I mean, this is to me, I'm going to have a couple parlays on this because there's really not that many great odds. But if you're looking at somebody that's plus money right now, I think you look at Cleveland, you look at Indianapolis, you look at Tampa Bay, and you look at Seattle. And if you want to go a little further down, maybe New Orleans. I think New Orleans still has a strong team. The NFC South is going to be wide open. I know the Falcons are the favorite, but we don't know what Kirk Cousins is going to look like coming off of injury. And we really don't know how they're going to use Bijan. The expectation is they use him the way they should, and that Drake London will have a big year and Kyle Pitts, bounces back, and that the defense is better. But to me, the NFC South – next to the AFC South are the two biggest question marks for division races. So why not sprinkle some money on the team that's projected to finish third in that division? Because I think by the end of it, the NFC South could be one of those divisions that a team could win with 9 wins. They could just beat each other up and all be mediocre. So I like any team from the NFC South because almost all of them are plus money. Outside of that, maybe a flyer on Tennessee, a plus 350. Again, if you think the AFC South is going to beat up on each other. But yeah, I'm looking at this more as maybe a 4 to 5 team parlay to make some money. But, okay, let's go to the last futures, and that is Super Bowl. Again, go ahead.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it again. Lions. I think last year I picked the Bills over the Lions, but this year it's going to be the Lions over the Bengals for me. I think I'm going to be rooting on my man Campbell to get the job done. I think he gets it done.
The Lions are plus 1,200 to win the Super Bowl outright, so they are the 4th best odds. I actually like them better than Baltimore, who's right ahead of them, because, again, Baltimore still has to go through Kansas City. And we have seen that Lamar cannot get that done against the Chiefs when it matters, so why should I expect it to be different? And we've seen how Detroit is capable of taking San Francisco late, although that game went way south in the second half. But I think they're a team capable matchup-wise to take San Francisco deep. So they really only have 1, maybe 2 teams to go after, whereas Baltimore, I think there's a little bit more competition on the AFC side. And again, the Chiefs have just proven to done it year in and year out. They're going to be in the AFC Championship game. And until Lamar beats Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, I'm not going to pick him there. Yeah, I think Detroit's kind of, from a betting perspective, the one I like the most. Bengals at plus 1,500 is a pretty good one. Again, I'm going to throw the Packers back out there at plus 1,800. If they find a way to get through the NFC side of the bracket, they're clearly good enough to win the Super Bowl. But yeah, to me, it's still, I'm obviously going to put money on the Chiefs. But if I was going non-Chiefs, I think I really love Detroit. And then I think that's really the only one I feel confident in.
And I'll be playing Detroit over the Bengals, which you can play at DraftKings or FanDuel. It's 85-1.
Yeah. Again, I can't, as a Chiefs fan, pick the Bengals. I know they beat us a couple years ago in the playoffs, but that was a fluke. I don't think that was as much the Bengals beating us as it was the Chiefs shooting themselves in the foot with horrible play calling to end the first half, and then they came out the second half and just said they were just in shock. So I don't like that. But okay, let's as we wrap things up, let's go to week 1 plays. Let's start with the Thursday night game, of course, to kick off the season. Ravens at Chiefs. This line has kind of moved a little bit. I think it's going to settle somewhere around the 3.5, as the Chiefs being the favorite, of course. Looks like I think your pick is take the Ravens to cover.
So, yeah, it's an angle I always play. I'm not just doing this to mess with the Kansas City fans, but I played Detroit last year. I played the Bills the year before that when they played the Rams. I always play against the Super Bowl winner. I think, especially if they're coming and they're playing a team that they beat in the playoffs that has a bad taste in their mouth, I think the Ravens will be fired up for this game. They're not real happy that Mahomes went in there and made them look foolish yet again. So I think regular season Lamar will be ready to go, and he'll win a regular season game because that's what Lamar does.
Yeah, I like that. I'm kind of tempted to also take the under. I think both defenses have also gotten better this offseason. And I think week 1, night 1, offenses aren't always really crisp. I mean, we saw with the Chiefs last year, nobody could catch a ball. Now I think the Chiefs offense is better this year, but the over-under's at 46.5. Maybe you parlay that with the Ravens to cover and throw in a player proper too. FanDuel's got a 50% profit boost you can add in, so you could probably find yourself at a plus 800 parlay there. But yeah, if you had to bet one play there, I like the Ravens +3. And then if I had to go money line, I think I'd still put the Chiefs money line. Again, I've said this off air, and we'll say it in our Chiefs preview episode. The Chiefs are just focused. They're dialed in. They're focused. They know what it takes to win, and they're not a team that really messes around. I think coming into this season after winning 2, I think they're coming in mindset-wise differently than they came into the year last year after winning the first Super Bowl. So I would still pick the Chiefs to win. And then I guess we have the other Friday night game, which I feel like is weird to see NFL Friday. But you got Packers and the Eagles.
Yeah, I love what the NFL does. They put as many games on as many days as possible now. They have not to jump ahead, but they've told the NBA, sorry, Christmas is no longer yours.
Yeah, move over.
Funny. So this one in Mexico, I like the Packers, and it's simple for me. What I saw at the end of last year was these two teams going in 2 different directions, right? So, and Kelsey gone at center. They're going to have to work that out. He was the heart and soul of that team and that offense. That's my belief. Give me the Packers. Until I see the Eagles play a good game again, I won't be betting on them, especially as a favorite on a neutral site. Remember, this game is not in Philly.
Yeah, +2.5 is great. I actually like Packers money line. Again, I think the Eagles have a lot of pressure this year based on how that year went. I don't know if the Packers have that same pressure. They're not expected to be the favorite in the division with Detroit. There's really not a sure understanding yet of what Jordan Love can be. So I think it's just sit back and watch. So again, I like the Packers to come in and win that there +120 on the money line. Okay, let's go to the Sunday early slate. First up on here, we got Steelers at Atlanta. First game, looking at Kirk Cousins in a Falcons uniform.
Here is what I think is your trap game of the week. I think Atlanta giving 3 at home with Cousins is a trap. I will be all over the Steelers, knowing that they're not very good, and they're starting Russell Wilson, who I don't even know if he knows how to play football anymore. But somehow, some way, they're going to cover 3. Maybe they lose by 1 or 2, and the Falcons get out with the win. But the Steelers +3, I think, is to avoid the trap. I think Atlanta's your trap game. Stay away.
Yep. I don't even know if I actually want to bet this game because I think I want to see what Kirk Cousins does first. But that line has moved a little bit, at least right now in FanDuel. It's 3.5 now. So even, I think, more reason to take the Steelers there, +3.5. Next one up, we got, let's see. Let's go to, well, there's a bunch on here, but we got Minnesota at New York Giants. Currently is a 1.5 point favorite to Minnesota.
My play of the week, I'll probably just play the money line and not mess around with the 1.5 just in case something funny happens. Look, I don't think the Giants are a good football team. I think I said that earlier. Jefferson's the best receiver in my mind, him or Lamb, like we said. But sorry, G-men. I am gonna bet on the Vikings, and if I fall into a trap, then I'll pay for it. But I will pay heavily as my top play to see the Giants beat the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. There's no reason for the Giants to win any game this year. If we're being honest, they should be tanking the entire season. I honestly think Sam Darnold's going to be a little better than most people think. He is an established veteran. I think he was in a terrible situation in New York, and that has left a sour taste in everybody's mouth. And he's got weapons. I mean, I know Jordan Addison's going to be out. I know TJ Hawkinson's going to be out for a while, so maybe not necessarily for this game. But I think overall, throughout the season, Darnold's going to be better than we will give him credit for. And I think I still like the Vikings defense better than I like New York's offense. Other one you got on the early slate that you like is the Jaguars and Miami.
Yep,
Miami being the home team, they're currently a 3.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I'm with the underdog again here. I like the Jags getting the 3.5. I think Miami forgets how to play D from time to time. Now, will it shock me if Miami wins the game? No, I think this is going to be one of those classic field goal games that you get on Red Zone. That is the last game of the 1 o'clock slate that we're all watching. And it can go one of two ways. It wouldn't shock me at all if the Jags do what the Jags always do, and that is fall down by 10 and come back and score a meaningless touchdown with about 28 seconds to go. They lose by 3. They go onside. They don't get it. We see 3 knees, and that's the end. Wouldn't shock me. I think it's a 3-point game, and because it's a 3-point game, I'll take the 3.5.
Yeah. And then just to speed things along here, we'll probably put out some more plays throughout the week because there's a lot of good games. I like the Texans and Colts, but maybe we'll touch on that later this week. Let's go ahead and jump down to the late slate, or I guess afternoon. Another one of the afternoon slates. Let's go Cowboys at the Browns.
Yeah, this is a gut play for me. I just like the Cowboys getting 2.5. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to come out even without a preseason and show everyone why he got paid. I think Dak's annoyed right now, and he's going to show everyone that he should be considered one of the top quarterbacks in the league because he puts up numbers every year and doesn't really get a lot of respect. I think the defense is annoyed at what happened with Green Bay, and they might have something to prove because they're going to go in and hear about how Cleveland might be the better defense on that field. So I think the defense will be fired up. So I'll take the Cowboys getting 2.5 because I think Cleveland's on the downslide here.
Who do you trust more, Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson?
Dak Prescott. It's not in the regular season.
Who do you trust more, Amari Cooper or CeeDee Lamb?
CeeDee Lamb.
Now I will say the Cowboys. We have no idea what their run game is going to be with the aging Dalvin Cook, the aging Ezekiel Elliott, the undersized Deuce Vaughn, and the underutilized Rico Dowdle. But I think that's a Cowboys on the road. I think they're still the better team. Let's skip Sunday night. We'll just touch on it quickly. Lions are -3.5 at home against the Rams.
Yeah, I like the Lions 3.5. Like I said, they're playing indoors. I like their D. Their D is improved. I don't think covering 3.5 will be a problem at all. And then for the Monday night game, I got the Jets getting 3.5. I think they can keep it close with the Niners and surprise everybody. I think that number tells you Vegas thinks they can keep it close and surprise everybody. First game of the year, the Jets defense is, as everyone knows, very, very good. They have a great running game. They'll control the clock. Aaron Rodgers knows how to manage a game, obviously. So I would not be surprised at all if the Jets shock everybody and go to 1-0 and everyone's going, I can't believe the Niners are 0-1.
Trent Williams just back to practice today. So he hasn't played. Christian McCaffrey already dinged up. Debo is always dinged up, and if he's not, he will be dinged up. Brandon Ayuk finally gets his contract. I don't know how much. I feel like the 49ers are the better team, but again, the Jets to me seem like they're going to have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder to go out there. Aaron Rodgers returns to the Bay Area where he grew up and played in front of everybody. He's a little mad that the 49ers didn't draft him 20 years ago. So, yeah, I like that there. It's now on FanDuel at +4.5, so even better reason to take them. That'll wrap up the slate. And then, Greg, I know you've got a couple other things you want to throw out there for week one.
A couple other things for week one. If you're in a survivor pool, I think this is the week where you take who's going to be by far the most picked, and that's Cincinnati at home. I think they win. I think you're safe. Let's move on to week two and reassess.
It might even be bigger than a 7.5-point blowout.
Yeah, they might cover too. So Cincy wins easy, I think. So that's your survivor play. I said it earlier. I think everyone loves the teasers and the moneyline parlays out there, so I'll give one out every week. DraftKings lets you do a 4-team 13-pointer this year. It's minus 140. The 3-team is minus 120. That's only 10 points, though. So I'm going with a 4-team 13-point teaser, minus 140, with the Jags, the Colts, the Steelers, and the Cowboys, moving the line 14 points in your favor. And then the final play I'll give out and try to do my best explanation here is I play this every week, at least one of them. It's a 5-man TD round robin. So anytime TD score, 5 of them. So I'm going with Mark Andrews, Jacobs from the Packers, Kincaid, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Those are my 5 guys this week. What you're going to do is you're going to click them all like it's a parlay, but then hit the drop-down button that says round robin. So if you want to make a $20 investment, it's going to say buy 3s, put $1. That's going to cost you $10. Where it says buy 4s, put $1. There's 5 wagers there. That'll cost you $5. So we're at 15 now. And then I play the 5, the top main parlay for $5 to get the most bang for the buck if they all hit. If your lowest combination of the 3s hit and you only hit one of all these bets, you'll probably lose $6, $7. If you get 4 home, you'll make about 4 or 5 times your money. You'll get back $100 to $120. Depending on the combinations, it could be even more. If you knock all 5 out, you're going to get over $700 for your $20 investment on one like this. And these aren't guys with huge odds. So I'll play some other ones with guys who are plus 400 at 450. Throw 2 of those guys in there, and then you're talking, you can get $1,500, $1,600 for your $20. Now, again, that's only $1 base bet for the 3s and the 4s. And then a $5 bet on the 5-man parlay, the 5-leg. If you go up, obviously it costs a lot more, but you can make a lot more. So I usually play them for $2 and then $5 for the top one. So for me, it's a little more. It costs me $35.
I'll have to take a couple screenshots of what you're talking about and post it later on Twitter so it makes sense to everyone. But yeah, I like that because I think all those guys are going to be red zone targets. Especially Andrews and Kincaid. And we know Amon-Ra St. Brown is a touchdown machine. CeeDee Lamb might score 3 touchdowns. And Jacobs is the one that's interesting. New look, new team, but he's going to get goal line presence for sure because they don't trust A.J. Dillon anymore.
He's out.
And that's true. He is out.
On IR. And the good thing on DraftKings is they will give you all the combos. You click down, it'll show you what they all pay, which is nice.
Yep, I like it. So that'll wrap up week 1 of the NFL slate. And of course, next week we'll recap any of our picks. Then we'll dive into the week 2 picks. If you guys have any games you want takes on or any fantasy football questions you have, who to start, who to sit, we could do start, bench, cut, or start, bench, trade, I guess, in fantasy football terms. If you got something like that you want to throw away, hit us up on any of our social medias at KCSA Pod. Send us in your plays if you have questions on certain games or you want to, hey, cook me up a 5-6 team parlay, whatever it is. Send something our way and we'd be happy to shout you guys out and send something back.
Other sports too, everyone. If you got baseball questions, you want to play a golf play, okay, send us in your question. We'll be happy to answer it.
I'm still watching some of the baseball ones because I still love the home run props. Love those. But yeah, that'll wrap it up for this one. Again, thank you for checking us out. If you haven't done so before, hit that like and subscribe button below here so you can stay up to date with all of our game day gambles here on the KC Sports Authority podcast. We will make sure we post all of these throughout the week on all of our social media channels. So again, go follow us all over the place there at KCSA Pod. And here's to everyone making some money this weekend.